The Directors Cottage was a two-story, 8-room wood frame house with concrete foundation and a one-half basement. This house was moved less than a mile downriver to Fairport, Iowa in 1962 by Mr. Marvin L. McDonald, who purchased the house from the federal government for $511. As of 2023, Mrs. McDonald still lives in the house. Archaeological surveys in this area failed to reveal any indications of the former building or the sidewalk and steps leading to the house. Despite removing dense overgrowth in March 2020, there remains no physical evidence of the house or other features, and no artifacts were found in this location. The first occupant of the Directors Cottage was Dr. Robert E. Coker. Dr. Coker received a PhD at Johns Hopkins University in 1906 and immediately accepted a position with the government of Peru to develop its marine fisheries. He joined the Fairport Biological Station in 1909 and continued as director until 1915. From 1915 to 1922, Dr. Coker was the chief of the Division of Scientific Inquiry for the U.S. Bureau of Fisheries, later renamed the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. From 1922 to 1947, Dr. Coker accepted an academic position in zoology at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. After retiring in 1947, he organized and directed the Institute of Fisheries Research from 1947 until 1953. Throughout his distinguished career, Dr. Coker was one of the first conservationists to sound the alarm on the many environmental concerns occurring on the upper Mississippi River that would affect the future of fish and mussel populations. At the time, the most important issues Dr. Coker addressed included the overharvesting of mussels, loss of aquatic habitat from construction of wing dams to maintain a 9-foot channel on the Mississippi River, construction of the hydroelectric dam at Keokuk in 1910, and the adverse effects caused by industrial and urban waste pollution. The Fairport Biological Station was home to many esteemed directors between 1915 to 1933, when funding for all the research at the hatchery ended. The list of directors include A.F. Shira, 1915 to 1920, Ray Barney, 1920 to 1924, T.K. Chamberlain, 1923 to 1930, and Dr. A.H. Wiebe, 1930 to 1933. Dr. Wiebe, who began working at Fairport in 1926, was regarded as the authority on propagation methods and techniques for largemouth and smallmouth bass, crappie, sunfish, and bluegill. However, when funding for research on fish and pond culture stopped in 1933, he resigned and took a similar position with the state of Texas Fish, Game, and Oyster Commission. Mr. Leslie Bennett, foreman at the Fairport Biological Station from 1928 to 1933, was promoted to director. Mr. Bennett moved into the Directors Cottage in 1934 and lived there during his tenure as director.